I thought I had found the love of my life, but in the end, I was just another victim. My name is Juliana, and I once believed in love with all my heart. I believe that when you meet the right person, everything just clicks, and life becomes something beautiful, something worth cherishing. That's what I thought when I met him. His name was Luca, and from the moment our paths crossed, he made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. I met Luca at a small cafe near my workplace. It was a rainy afternoon, and the place was unusually crowded. I had just finished a long day and was desperately searching for a table when I spotted an empty chair at his table. He noticed me looking and, with a warm smile, gestured for me to sit. "You look like you need a break," he said, and I remember laughing, feeling instantly at ease. That was the kind of effect he had on people. He made you feel seen, as if nothing else in the world mattered except the conversation you were having with him. We talked for hours that day, and before I knew it, I was giving him my number, something I never did with strangers. But Luca didn't feel like a stranger. He felt familiar, as if I had known him forever. That was his magic. He had this effortless charm, this quiet confidence that made you believe everything he said. He told me he worked in finance, that he traveled often for work, but that he had been looking for something real, something meaningful. And I believed him. Our relationship moved fast. Within weeks, I was completely wrapped up in him. He knew exactly what to say, how to make me feel special. He took me on romantic weekend trips, surprised me with small but thoughtful gifts, and always made me feel like I was the center of his universe. He was attentive, affectionate, and seemed genuinely interested in my dreams, my fears, my past. I had never felt so understood by anyone before. But then, little things started to feel off. His phone was always on silent when we were together. He avoided taking calls in front of me. Sometimes he would disappear for days, only to return with the perfect excuse. Work got crazy, he'd say with a sigh, pulling me into his arms. And just like that, my doubts would dissolve. He had a way of making me feel foolish for even questioning him. Then one day, he asked for money. It wasn't a large amount, just something small. An unexpected work issue, a delayed paycheck. "I hate asking you for this," he said, looking genuinely embarrassed. "I'll pay you back in a few days." Of course, I didn't hesitate. Why would I? He had done so much for me. He was successful, responsible. What was a small favor between two people who loved each other? That was the beginning of the end. The requests became more frequent. Small amounts turned into larger ones. There was always a good reason. Always a temporary problem that needed solving. At first, I didn't question it. He had never given me a reason to doubt him. But then, I started noticing other cracks. His stories didn't always add up. When I asked about his job, his answers were vague. When I tried to meet his colleagues, there was always an excuse. My gut told me something was wrong, but I ignored it. I didn't want to believe that the man I loved could be lying to me. The truth came crashing down on a random afternoon when I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a woman, and she knew my name. "You don't know me, but I need to warn you about Luca." My blood turned cold. "He's not who he says he is," she continued. "He's done this before. He gets close to women, gains their trust, takes their money, and then disappears. Please don't let him do this to you." I wanted to deny it. I wanted to hang up and pretend I never heard her words. But deep down, I already knew. I had known for a while, but I hadn't wanted to see it. The signs had always been there. The missing details in his stories, the way he avoided certain questions, the money. It all made sense now. That night, I confronted him. I didn't give him the chance to manipulate me again. I told him what I had learned, how I knew everything now. And for the first time, I saw it, the cracks in his perfect mask. For a brief second, he looked at me with something that resembled regret. But then, just as quickly, he shrugged, as if none of it really mattered. "You were an easy target," he admitted, his voice disturbingly calm. "But don't take it personally. You're not the first, and you won't be the last." That was the last thing he ever said to me. He left that night without a single ounce of remorse. And just like that, the man I had loved, the man I had built my future around, was gone. The days that followed were a blur of humiliation and heartbreak. I felt like a fool. How could I have let this happen? How could I have ignored the warnings, the inconsistencies? But love makes you blind, and he had known exactly how to make me see only what he wanted me to. I reported him to the authorities, but I knew it wouldn't matter. He was a ghost. He would change his name, move to another city, find another woman to deceive. He had done this before, and he would do it again. The only thing I could do now was rebuild myself from the ruins he left behind. Months passed. The pain dulled, but it never fully went away. Trusting people became harder. Letting someone in felt impossible. I told myself I had learned my lesson, that I would never fall for someone like Luca again. But the truth is, people like him don't always look like villains. They look like love, like fate, like everything you ever wanted, until they don't. I don't know where he is now, and I don't care. All I know is that I survived. I wasn't the first woman he fooled, but I will be the last one to ever break this way. Because now I see the warning signs, and I will never ignore them again. Did you like today's story? So, leave your like and subscribe to continue watching the channel's videos. Until the next story.